What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another late night in the BrewLab with me, Lone Fox, your brewmaster in chief. And tonight, in the BrewLab, I'm coming at you with a filthy net deck. You know, I don't often play top meta decks on the channel. I always take some pride in the fact that I can come up with like cool off-meta decks that still get good wins in. But sometimes, you know, especially now, early season, I need to rely on, you know, stats. If you want to get to Mythic quick, you got to play the top-tier decks, and that's just the long and short of it. I'm not so, you know, my hubris. I don't think that I'm somehow better than the entire arena community, that's this deep into a format. I'll be able to suddenly find the deck that's better than all the other ones that everybody's playing. So I relied for the last few seasons on RDW, mono red aggro. I prefer the aggro variant to the burn variant, you know, with the 4 Thundering Raijus, and it's gotten me to Mythic early for the last 2 months, but I'm honestly very bored of it. The play patterns are super repetitive. And even though I play it well, it's not doing as well as it was in previous seasons because of enchantments and life gain creatures in the enchantment deck and whatnot. There's just more matchups where you get run over. Also, when you're playing like on the draw, amazing hand mono red. So there's a new top dog in town as far as aggro is concerned. For those of you who follow me on Twitter, you would have seen yesterday's post. Just ridiculous win rate. I've been at a friend's wedding the entire weekend, and I felt the need to quickly just do some ranking to catch up. And once I put my kids to bed, nice and late into the night, I like finally booted up my laptop and jumped into some games on Arena, and I did a streak of 14-1. Straight into Diamond, 93% win rate with the deck I'm about to show you. Here is the stats for you. I mean, I honestly couldn't believe it myself. 44 minutes total, 15 matches in 44 minutes. Okay, lost 1 where I flooded against Selesnya enchantments. Notably, no mono red, as you can see here, just none. But, I mean, the deck is an absolute missile. I feel like I'm just destroying people. Like, even if you'll notice here how many games I have on the draw that I still just win in, like, under 3 minutes. Just bum, 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 bum. Slamming those games out. It's busted. I personally think it's really busted. And, it may even need some bans. Thalia. But anyway, that's only going to happen in August, so for now, this is probably going to be the de facto best aggro deck in the format IMO. So, without further ado, let's jump into tonight's brew. Simply called the Filthy Net deck. And it's mono white, of course, mono white humans. We just did the mono white soldiers deck. I also thought that was really good, but the win rates were nowhere near as close as this. The list varies. I like it when lists are like this, where it's not 100% set in stone. You know, what are the better options? Some people play 4 Knight-Errant of Eos and no Phyrexian Vindicators. I've seen people playing Steel Seraph instead of the Vindicator as a flying threat. I've seen people playing more Skrelvs. I've seen some people putting, instead of Guardian of New Benalia, you know, there's other humans that are great in the 2-drop slot other than just the ones I've chosen here. I mean, plenty. Even just the one that exiles, considering there are still some people doing reanimation shenanigans, was definitely in consideration. You could also think of Cathar Commando to deal with some artifacts and enchantments. Here we go. The Sun Gold Sentinel that exiles on attack and ETB was definitely also in consideration. But I tried everything. I tried so many different versions of this deck. I'm sure you all follow Hello Good Game. For those of you who don't yet, go check him out. Love his stuff. Also very creative. Brewer. He just made #1 Mythic last season, or this season, on day 1 or 2 of the season, playing a very similar list to this. I think he had 3 Skrelvs, and he was even playing some ossifications, and he wasn't playing the Peacekeeper. Like I said, it's not like fixed yet what the better version is. All I can tell you is that I've played this one non-stop now for the last few days, and I went from the bottom of plat into diamond like a hot knife through butter. The main takeaway for me is the Vindicator is just amazing, because there's still plenty of people playing mono red aggro, and this is almost as bad as Obliterator against them. They just cannot attack through it anymore. None of their removal works. It's freaking phenomenal against mono red. So this is my like nod to the meta as far as mono red is concerned. Still being around so much. Play some Vindicators in your mono white deck. You won't regret it. Other interesting card is the Guardian of New Benalia against that matchup, because they just struggle to remove it. And then if you can just do the curve, I mean, we all know the curve, right? Any 1-drop into Thalia, into Anointed Peacekeeper. You tax their first removal spell on your 1-drop with the Thalia, and then you check their hand and you get rid of the sweeper, or, you know, make it cost an extra 2 more. And then if you can follow, you know, that up with an Adeline, then it's just immediately over. The number of games where like the ramp opponent is just managing to get down their first topiary stomper, and the next turn you just go Adeline, swing, boom, 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 boom. It's ridiculous. Like I said, I feel like I was cheating. Like just like the opponent couldn't even get anything started, and the game's already over before it begun. The cool new card in, because you know most of this stuff is as old as it gets. I mean, we've been playing Thalia and an Adversary and Peacekeeper and Adeline and Brutal Cathar and Hopeful Initiate for months and months and months now. But we've got the Coppercoat Vanguard that obviously just adds a whole nother like extra oomph to the deck, because it's basically an anthem effect. It's not like, you know, both power and toughness, it's just the power. But you get a couple of these down on the battlefield on turn 4. It's just another thing very similar to the Intrepid Adversary, which also usually comes down on turn 4. That just suddenly buffs the whole team. And the ward, if you add the ward on top of the Thalia attacks, on top of the Peacekeeper attacks, it just makes everything so hard to remove with mono black opponents that are doing like targeted removal spells and things. It's incredible. And then the final new piece of tech is the Knight-Errant of Eos. You could definitely consider just like cutting like the Skrelv and the Vindicators and just go 4 Knight-Errants and bam. But it's not always amazing. And you just want to have like one of these like in your opening hand or shortly after. Once you've populated the board with a bunch of little 1/1s, there'll come a turn where your hand is kind of empty because you've just been, you know, doing white weenies things and putting down all your 1 and 2 drops. And then you can just convoke the Knight-Errant with all the little creatures that you have on the battlefield. You do take 1 turn off from attacking, which is why I'm not so much of a fan of this card. But then often you're convoking it with 3 or 4 of your creatures, and that means you can find from your library whatever the hell you needed next. Another Brutal Cathar, the Intrepid Adversary that you need to buff your whole squad the next turn, whatever the case might be. So actually just amazing, but I don't think the full play set is really where you want to go. Like 2 has been just fine. And that really is all I have to say with regards to the deck. Nothing special as far as the mana base. I did put in 1 sneaky Mishra's Foundry just because sometimes it helps, but because we've got the Vindicator in the deck, I didn't want too many lands that don't produce, you know, that don't make white. So, yeah, that's it. That's the deck. The filthiest of filthies. And let's jump into some games. I think this is more of a kind of video to less about like my brewing ingenuity of like, oh, look at this cool new idea I've come up with, but more about like, this is how you should pilot mono white aggro well. I don't often toot my own horn, as they say. I'm not a very, you know, I don't like to talk myself up too much. Quite humble in that respect, but okay, when I do, it's because I really mean it, and I pilot this particular style of deck better than your average person. And I can read like the opening hand, like this is just freaking amazing. 3 lands, Thalia, bunch of 2-drops. Okay. We got the mirror and we're on the draw. Let's go with the Initiate. Then we can Thalia turn 2 and then double drop on turn 3. Unless we find, you know, the 3-drop. Okay, so it's not the mirror. This is the Azorius soldiers. That's not nice. At all. Probably gonna lose this one. Ladies and gentlemen. It's Brutal Cathar time usually around this point. But we can do Adversary next turn and hope that that does something. I will block with this Recruitment Officer if he decides to swing. And then go for the Adversary. Brutal Cathar with the 1 mana available to pay for the ward. Mirror. Alright, alright. Yeah, this one's not looking great. Clearly. Pity. We didn't take this one, guys. Unfortunately, there ain't much I can do about that. Okay. That's also the other nice thing about decks like this. Is like, you know when it's over, and you can just quickly scoop and move on to the next one. Game 1 on the draw. Against a very similar strategy, and the opponent just had the better curve out. We didn't find any of our big guns, you know, Brutal Cathars, any of the 3-drops that we needed there to turn things around a little bit. So it is what it is. Quick, rapid games. That's, you know, this time of the month, this is what I want. I know when I've lost, I can concede, move on to the next one. Boom, 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 boom. Billy's me dog. There we go. There we go. There's the big guns. Peacekeeper is just ridiculous. What a good card. Against control, it's just phenomenal. This time we're on the play with a nice aggressive hand. Depending on what colors the opponent plays, we'll decide whether we're going Adeline turn 3 for maximum aggro, or whether we need to check for sweepers and removal in his hand from the Peacekeeper. Cut down, fine. Let's go. No Thalia, unfortunately. It's always a bit nice to have that on turn 2. Okay, we're playing against a lot of removal, so I'm going to go in with the Peacekeeper before attacks and see if he, you know, this will force him to make a subpar decision. Of course, he had the double cut down. Oh, so it's Grixis, huh? So Jace. Can't get that down on turn 3. Then we play Thalia next turn, probably, instead of the Adeline. Decisions. Yeah, I don't even want him to cast a big score, so we're going to go with this. Hold back the adversary for next turn, or the turn after that. Now this big score is stall again. Well, he can cast it with the treasure mana here from the Gold Hound, the treasure dog. I guess he can block the 1/1 or Thalia. They both die. Now he can cast the big score. I wonder what that is. Okay. Ah, discarding Jace. Nice. Okay. No Brotherhood's End, and we should be good. Brotherhood's End or burn down the house. Requisitioner. Full send. Block the 7/5 with your 3/1. You take 8 damage. Unless you've got the follow-up removal for the adversary. Should be pretty sucky. Aha! Okay. Mill. Grixis mill. It's a lot of treasure. Chandra? Oh, okay, breach. Whoopee! Doesn't really bother me too much. What's that, the little goblin guy burping? I guess he takes our Vindicator, but our board's just too big. There's no way a breach is gonna get around this board state. So maybe just concede. The salty rope. He knows. You can take Chandra and kill 2 things, and my Vindicator, it still won't be enough. Yep. I don't think it's going to be enough.
You're toast.
Top deck city. Has to block. What's it gonna be?
Come on, Chandra.
Duress won't do it. Ha 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 ha. Ha ha ha. Sorry, mate. Off you go. Alright, that was definitely a proper showing of the power of this aggro deck. It's... yeah, I mean, it's insane. I was really enjoying playing mono white aggro when it was the top aggro deck of, you know, a few sets back. Then mono red sort of took over for a while, but now it's just firmly, like with the Coppercoat Vanguard, there's no denying it. It's just the de facto best aggro deck in the format. Always play the Foundry last in case we do top deck our Vindicator, because then you can't cast it with the Foundry. Grixis mill, mill, Jace. Wherever I look. So he's probably going to go for the Jace, yeah. Now we can stop the +1 with Skrelv. Blue. We just go for the bye-bye. This is an expensive sweeper that we can probably just play around. Draw, then discard. This card is pretty interesting. Like, I'm impressed. So whenever it leaves, no, it dies, enters or dies. So let's go for the second Brutal Cathar that we have access to. And line up for a Coppercoat Vanguard turn next. Two, three, four, five. This costs 6.
For the sake of Phyrexia, I will keep watch.
It's got the cut down for something. Yeah. That's really not a big deal. So now we're going to come in with the Vanguard. Bye-bye. Off you go. Busted. I'm telling you guys, it's busted. I haven't gotten this many, like, consistent wins in a while. Like, 2 months ago, Mono Red was doing similar things for my playstyle, where I just felt like I was cheating. Like, I could just... Every game, I felt so confident going in, keeping opening hands, just the consistency of, like... you get all these 4-ofs, and it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, 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 curve, opponent's dead. If you don't get the curve, because shuffler shenanigans, concede, next match. Feels exactly like that. You know, to each their own playstyle. This is how I can rapidly accrue victories and move up the ladder. Not as nice, but also, honestly, nothing... Can't complain. Okay, so we got a lead with the Initiate against Enchantments over the Recruitment Officer. And then we're probably double dropping Recruitment Officers next turn. this matchup's terrible. This matchup is one of the worst. It kind of, I think, just depends on a bit of luck. Sometimes they don't have that busted enchantments deck hand with the turn 3 Calyx and the already ready aura in hand as well. And then we get to beat them. Otherwise, we lose. And again, that's fine. On to the next one. Rinse, repeat. 2 mana restoration. Fetches him a white land. Will he have the follow-up doggy? No doggies. So let's go see what he does have. What's the most scary thing here? Everything. It's all terrible. I guess wedding announcement's the most annoying. Where is it? Okay. We're getting to a potential, like, good Alpha Strike moment here where we can double Coppercoat. Now, he's only got 1 green source, and that's probably what's going to help us win, because he's deciding. Okay, he has to go... Okay. Probably all on the life gainer. We just need to force some trades. The problem is the second chapter here of the restoration, bringing back something next turn. I don't know. This one's looking bad because of the 5 toughness. Maybe Brutal Cathar off the top would be the actual way to go about this. Ah. Aha. He decides to swing. And we get the Brutal Cathar. Oof. Okay, let's go for this.
That was a spicy meatball.
Why don't you discard Audacity and bring it onto the battlefield for free? I don't understand why you didn't do that last turn. Cool, man. Really strange sequencing. Yeah, now... if he's got those, like, ossifications, those, you know, removal spells that they play with. Our humans have, like, 2 ward. So, good luck. Everything on the naturalist. Come on. Then I can play my Cathar and win. Okay, trying to spread out the love a little bit. Silly, silly. Silly boy. So you're taking 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 14. You're dead. Bye-bye. And even if he switches the blocks, it's still 13. So he's dead regardless. Let's wait for the opponent to figure that one out. 8. Yeah. Block the 5/5. Yeah, still doesn't do it. Oh yes, this does it. Down to 1. Now we can use the Hopeful Initiate next turn to kill an enchantment. The lack of green has been our win con. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Would have gone a bit differently, I think, if the opponent had a bit more green mana available to him. But I'm always going to be one to capitalize on the shuffler being in our favor once every now and again. So 31 minutes in, 4 matches down, lost 1 in the on the draw against Azorius. Otherwise, we shredded 2 mill decks and 1 enchantments deck. So feeling pretty good, and I think this is probably going to be the final match of the night. Like I said, I'm not reinventing the wheel with this one. Everybody, you can just go on Untapped and, like, you know, there'll be like 5 different versions of this mono white humans that you can just, you know, take for a spin. I don't think my particular version's any like particularly better than any of the other versions or whatnot. It's such small differences. 1 more Thalia, 1 less, whatever. Like, it's not really what's going to make the difference. It's more about how you play it. When do you deploy which threat? When do you apply maximum pressure? When do you hold back something, you know? Here we just need our... Oh god, not another enchantment player. Hello. Oh yes. Okay, we found our 3rd land though, so... Heyo. Thalia into Peacekeeper is one of the lines that makes me feel the most safe when playing this deck. Just... Ooh, there's a Coppercoat as well. God. I guess Calyx. Okay, we're gonna lose this one. I can tell you already. There is a chance. There is still a chance. Triple naturalist in the top 10 of his library. Like, yeah, come on. Everybody can win at that. Too easy. The only way we win now is if we get a Brutal Cathar off the top. So disappointing. Whew. Dang it. Yeah. Can't do much against that, much life gain. Like, just so broken. I hate this deck. It really drives me nuts. Next. You see, like, these are the things that make you think about, like, it's not just a randomizing algorithm. It's like you just played against Selesnya and they had the bad draw, and then the next match they flip it around. It really feels like, I know it's tinfoil hat stuff, but it just sometimes feels like there's something more than just like a random element to it. It feels like some shenanigans, some funny business going on behind the scenes. It's probably just a feeling. I know we've all had those feelings. Triple Jukai Naturalist in the top 5 cards of his library. It's like, and now there's a 9/9 with lifelink on turn 3 or something. Okay, thanks. On to the next one. Fat Thor for our final match of the night. Bring it on. Great hand. Fantastic hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh! If it isn't mono freaking red. Might not be. Okay. Yep. It's so funny to race mono red. Like, I hope he takes the next turn off to flip this guy. The Ward 2 is pretty annoying, but it's also not amazing. We've also got our 4th land for the adversary. Okay, this is even better. Mono red that's bricking. Bring it on. Already played the... Oh. Even better. Ooh, options. Yeah, it's got to be the Peacekeeper. Next turn, adversary. Get some life gain going. This is definitely the burn version with Reckless Impulse, Ancestral Anger, you know, cheaper stuff, and then Mechanized Warfare as a full playset. I think this is the less good version of Mono Red. You should be playing aggro version with Thundering Raiju, 4 of top end. Boom, boom, boom. Just slam face. 3 copies of Squee or 4, depending on your preference. And Ancestral Anger on the someone. And then swing a ding ding. Sweet. Yep. Who's the aggro deck now? Let's go face with the 1/1, of course. I mean, with the 1 damage. Can he push out 8? Even if we aggressively block with an Intrepid Adversary. You know, Mono Red is just the type of deck that always just, like, swings every turn with everything. Especially the type of people that play Mono Red, they just swing, swing, swing. land into something else, into swing. I block with the adversary and then swing back for the win. But he'll probably only, if he's being clever, he'll just go in with the Phoenix Chicks. But that'll still be his demise. Yeah. Because then we just got Brutal Cathar on whatever we want and G to the G. Sorry, Mono Red. Mono White is now the best aggro deck in the format. You can better believe it. I thoroughly enjoy beating those decks, man. Like, people haven't changed a single card choice in this deck for so long. It's just like, just feels really dull and boring to play against. You know, the upgraded Mono Red with, like, I've seen, you know, even Crow Keys and whatnot, with the full playset of Shiva and Devastator and the full playset of Invasion of Tarkir. Yes, cool, but is it better than the Mono Red aggro that I just mentioned with the Raiju? I don't think so. And so, therefore, it's old and boring. And Mono White gets to play with a few new toys, which make it more fun for me right now. So that is going to be it for tonight's gameplay footage, arriving in neatly at just underneath the 45-minute mark. I'm going to this time actually remember to show you guys some stats. The screenshot I showed you before was from a screenshot I took last night, and I just got to Diamond and then stopped playing. So let's go on to my Untapped instead. Boop. And here's the Filthy Net deck. Make it visible for you guys. So, of course, link is always in the description. 70% win rate, 70 for 30. The latest run here we just had was a 4 for 2. Last night had a 14 for 2. You know, overall, all I did was with this latest version was take out one Knight-Errant and put in one additional Vindicator. And, you know, even bringing the win rate a little higher. 90% win rate on the play is just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I mean, I know I got lucky for sure. I know I do pilot this type of deck well, but that just seems a little bit too high for me. Like, it's not a small sample size. Those are some reps I've put in there. That's you know, 110 matches. Oh, sorry, 100 matches. 70% win rate over 100 matches is very high. It's maybe just a little bit too high, but we'll have to leave it up to Wizards to decide what to do about that in August with the ban announcement that's pending. But that is going to be it as far as stats. Jumping back into the deck with my final thoughts. Build it as you will. Cut the Skrelv, cut the Vindicators, put in some more, I don't know, there's other 2-drops. You could even think about running, you know, I've seen the versions that are playing the laydown arms, just to have something other than just Brutal Cathar for removal. It just ends up taking away from the speed. You just want to go 1, 2, 3. Initiate, Thalia, Adeline. Or Initiate, or Recruitment Officer, Guardian of New Benalia, Anointed Peacekeeper, then Adeline. But like, you just want to go 1, 2, 3, boom, 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 and then the games just end. If you clutter up your library with too many like removal pieces and one-offs of things, the chances are you won't get to do that lovely mono white aggro curve, and it'll be just a little bit less consistent. Take it with a grain of salt. That is my opinion. I hope you enjoyed the gameplay footage and my thoughts on the matter. And if you did, kindly consider leaving a thumbs up, a comment, and subscribing to the channel. We are rapidly growing. I'm very, very happy with the channel's progress, so thank you to all the new members. Welcome to the BrewLab. On to the next milestone, 1,500 subs. We'll do another big giveaway, so stay tuned for that as well. And yeah, I will be seeing you all in the next one with another fresh brew. And until then, this is Lone Fox from the BrewLab, signing out. Peace, y'all.